Hey folks, me again, back again with another video. Today I'm reacting to Bruce Campbell film, so I hope you enjoy the video. Like, subscribe, follow me on TikTok, and Discord, and now chit chat. Let's begin, shall we?
Groovy Bruce Campbell roles, master artist of B-movie goodness. Okay, let's be honest here. How many of you really knew that amongst the sea of actors who were considered for the role of the Phantom, Bruce Campbell was also one of them? Well, back in 1994, after Campbell was done shooting Briscoe, he received a call from Jeffrey Boehm, the then creator and executive producer of the television series. Boehm, who was writing a film adaptation of the Phantom comic strip for Paramount, actually invited Campbell to audition for the titular role. And while Campbell
Sorry
did
to adjust my camera, folks.
eventually it was actor Billy Zane who bagged the role.
That's a good one.
Considering how gifted Bruce Campbell actually is, and the fact that this
Bruce
Michigan native can
Campbell!
literally steal the spotlight without even uttering a single word, it is quite startling to think that he never really fell into the category of Hollywood's A-listers. But then again, Campbell is only 62, and there's still time. In this video, we're going to talk about 12 of his grooviest roles that prove Campbell was, is, and always will be the master artist of B-movie goodness. Before we go into our list, we have a very small request.
Check out their channel.
Content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click from you, but it means a lot to us. Thank you. Let's begin. My name is Bruce, 2007. In the small mining town of Gold Lick, 4 teenage kids vandalize a cemetery and inadvertently unleashes the Chinese god of the dead.
Chinese. Yo!
The surviving teen Jeff flees from the site, kidnaps actor Bruce Campbell from his movie set, all in the hopes that his idol will save the
Then it
town.
must be a good film.
Campbell, thinking that it is all part of his birthday surprise from his agent, agrees to help out.
I'm here to help. Let's hear it from Mr. Bruce Campbell.
I said, oh, Bruce, just play for yourself.
However, things take a different turn when he realizes that the demonic Chinese deity is for real.
Retreat!
This 2007 meta flick not only featured Campbell as an actor, but also as the director and co-producer. The Bruce on display is everything that we love about the actor, and he played his role to perfection, so much so that you just won't be able to control yourself from laughing. You want to move that hand? Meet the hard-drinking, treating fans like crap, living in a trailer, and starring in movies like Cave Alien 2 Bruce, who simply takes no mercy in making fun of himself. The fact that it is the actor playing the actor is the main force of the movie. You see Campbell there, and everything else just goes with the flow. Campbell's one-liners certainly deserve a special mention. Remember him saying, "You son of a bitch," to his own dog.
Son of a bitch!
Well, if you can keep your analytical perceptions to yourself, you are bound to have a pretty good time. Also,
Nothing but a good time.
But the movie was actually
Oh.
filmed on Campbell's Lavender Farm near Medford, Oregon. Leaving for the interior shots that were done on a soundstage, everything else was shot on his property. So it is pretty much a movie for the die-hard Campbell fans, boasting references to almost every movie he has done so far. Give this a shot and you will know what we're hinting at.
Backups.
Oh!
Maniac Cop, 1988.
Maniac
A
Cop.
police officer known as Maniac Cop has been going around violently slaying innocent people on the streets of New York.
Oh, crazy cop killing innocent people.
As the death
Oh.
toll starts rising and eyewitness
Oh,
accounts get
what if that's a
suppressed,
coincidence?
Detective Gray takes charge of the investigation. On the other hand, Jack Forrest, who happens to be a young cop, finds himself in
No,
trouble
start
as
cop.
a crime suspect after having been a victim of a setup.
Cops killing- Cops accusing their own of killing people. Oh my goodness gracious. People are idiots these days.
The thing about Campbell is that he's one of those actors who are capable of making even the worst of films watchable, and the films that are already good even better. Do believe us when
Even
we tell you
better.
that the only reason Campbell starred in this 1988 action slasher flick is because he needed work at the time. Having said that, William Lustig's Maniac Cop is actually quite enjoyable with a good, unique storyline and some amazing horror and action scenes. Inevitably one of the better horror movies that filled the late 80s, the power-packed performances...
It was the late 80s, and let's just say...
stars also
Hey,
deserve a
by the
short
90s, let's just say the guy found it a bit hard to find work. Because it was the politically correct 90s.
Portraying the role of a flawed officer who has been unfaithful to his wife and then literally forced to go into action to clear his unfairly tarnished name, it's hard to imagine Campbell essaying a role like this, but he did, and he was nothing less than a treat to the eyes. There are some fans of Campbell who consider this to be one of his best works. Of course, credit should be given to the late Larry Cohen for coming up with such a profound script and those incredible one-liners. So if you still haven't managed to catch Maniac Cop, we highly recommend that you fix yourself a nice tub of popcorn first and then watch this guilty pleasure.
Sorry, man.
Bubba Hotep.
Bubba Hotep.
2002. At the Shady Rest retirement home in East Texas, an elderly man called Sebastian Haff claims himself to be the real Elvis Presley. How are you this morning, Mr. Haff?
I'm all right, but I prefer Mr. Presley.
Having gotten tired of the demands of his fame, he had apparently switched places with an Elvis impersonator who, according to him, is the actual Sebastian Haff.
Look, I was just impersonating myself, okay? I couldn't do nothing else. I don't have any problems.
He has been living in a coma for about 20 years and has been
My
unable
goodness
to
gracious.
return back to his old life after a propane explosion destroyed the only identity proof he possessed. His only friend at the center happens to be a black man called Jack who claims to be President John F. Kennedy, insisting that he had to dye himself
So crazy,
black after
crazy
the
elders then.
assassination attempt.
President Kennedy was a white man.
That's how clever they are. They dyed me this color.
The
dyed me this color.
starts getting terrorized by an ancient Egyptian mummy that has a panache for sucking out the souls of the elderly. Now it is up to the two old men to stop the mummy and also save mankind. This American comedy horror film, directed, written, and co-produced by Don Coscarelli, is actually based on the 1994 alternate history short novel also called Bubba Hotep by cult author Joe R. Lansdale. Do not judge the flick by its name. You have no idea how incredibly good it is. Campbell, as always, does an outstanding job imitating Elvis Presley. Right from that hairdo, the impeccable voice, to those...
'Cause you ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Those
Baby, so lonely, baby.
very well that he can essay the role of a hero and a joker with the same level of skill and enthusiasm. Just give 10 minutes into Bubba Hotep and you will forget it is Campbell and believe it is Presley that you're seeing on the screen. That's the charm of Bruce Campbell. He knows how to own it. You might have to be a little warped to enjoy this flick.
Ain't nothing but a hound dog.
As much as we do, trust us, you are going to love him even more after this. Some people say our trade
Just nad people. I'll skip this in no time at all. No time. Ah! The Evil Dead.
Dead trilogy.
Love it. Love it.
To not regard Campbell's Ash Williams as a cultural icon. After all, it's this particular character which gained him a massive cult following along with a cult status. When Sam Raimi came up with the first movie back in 1981, there was hardly any plan for a sequel. In fact, Campbell was given the name Ash because his character was supposed to die at the end of the film. Do you remember how Ash gets attacked by an unseen entity from behind right before the credits roll? Well, the original plan was for him to die. But then, going by the immense popularity of the character of Ash, the sequel reveals that he is very much alive. It's in Evil Dead 2 where we get to witness some of his most iconic scenes. We all know Ash's hand gets infected and that makes him...
And he cuts his own hand off.
You tell us, can you take that fight scene lightly? Credits to that particular part, which let the actor not only flaunt his acting skills, but also showed his comical side. It's hard to forget the way his hand knocks him out first and then drags his body across the floor. And when Ash finally cuts it off with a chainsaw, who can forget him yelling, "Who's laughing now?"
Oh, motherfucker!
Also, no list of one-liners can ever be complete if we don't mention Ash's iconic one-word,
This
movie.
is my boomstick!
These uber cool one-liners, along with that chainsaw as his new right hand, surely make him a total...
Yun, 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 yun.
Dead shows how Ash is...
Yun, 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 yun.
fights the undead in his quest to return back to the present.
Yeah, you can cut your firewood up.
His character being a time traveler is bound to sound pretty odd to people who thought this would just be another gory horror flick, but then it does make perfect sense to most of Ash's fans. Even his famous shotgun dialogue is pretty hard to forget. All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. See this?
Listen up.
This is my boomstick.
This is my boomstick.
Next in line was Ash
You're-
vs. Evil Dead, the television series which sort of acted as a sequel to the original trilogy. Featuring 3 seasons.
And they try to make it like a Chris Nolan film. And no, I won't drop that subject, so fuck you.
Apocalyptic future dominated by the
So,
Dads. You may
basically
not
Mad
notice, but
Max
this is
then.
exactly how Raimi wanted Army of Darkness to end before the climax was changed into something more upbeat.
What a beautiful blue eye. Shame he only has one.
Escape from LA, 1996.
Hey, that was a good film.
2013. Los Angeles has been separated from the mainland by a massive earthquake and is now corrupt. Meanwhile, the United
Hey,
States
two
has been
icons in their own
turned into a
right.
democratic, totalitarian state with new laws being made, and those who do not abide by the rules are deported straight to LA. Things take a different turn when the president's daughter is brainwashed into stealing a doomsday device and flees to LA. The president is left with no other choice but to call upon the
Call him Snake.
lieutenant turned criminal Snake Plissken.
That black box in my hand, and you're a free man.
The sequel to Escape from New York might not live up to the expectations
Whoa,
of
whoa,
the
whoa, whoa.
original, but then one has to admit that Bruce Campbell playing the role of the creepy Surgeon General happens to be his scariest best. Campbell is seen portraying a plastic surgeon who uses the body of the living against their will to provide his patients and himself a whole new look. Sure, we all fancy heroes, but when it comes down to an actor, portraying a villain is way cooler for them. Full credits to John Carpenter for giving Campbell the chance to portray this demented doctor, even if it meant that the actor graced us with his presence only for a single scene. Campbell as the Surgeon General of Beverly Hills is not just a sadist, but also a complete freak mutated by his very own cosmetic surgeries. Well, under that heavy pile of makeup, it's almost impossible to recognize Campbell. Also, it's kind of hard to get rid of that image of his crooked smile that he has been flashing in the movie. It's creepy in a different way and sadly will stick with you for a long time. Mind Warp, 1992. Set in a post-apocalyptic Earth in the year 2037, the planet's remaining inhabitants live in In-World, which is an impenetrable biosphere controlled by computers. However, a young dreamer, having raised her voice against the prefabricated existence, finds herself exiled to the mutant-ridden world outside. She gets captured by the mutated, cannibalistic underground dwellers known as crawlers who want to breed her with their leader, who has
My
plans of
goodness
his own.
gracious.
Steve Barnett's 1992 post-apocalyptic science fiction horror flick happens to be a perfect example of how a classic B-movie should actually be. Thank God for the always dependable Bruce Campbell for making this cheesy flick watchable. The actor plays the character of Stover here, who is an outworlder and is quite certain that he is the last normal human being on the surface. Life has not been easy for Stover. He literally has to save himself from the fatal ultraviolet rays, the acidic groundwater, radioactivity, and of course the crawlers. You definitely don't want to know about his diet, and we will not be giving further spoilers here. To be honest, the story isn't that great, but mark our words when we say its blood content is bound to satisfy all the gorehounds out there. We are pretty sure that most horror fans would blindly pick up a copy of Mind Warp simply because of the two names that are written on the cover. While the first one undeniably happens to be Campbell, the second is that of the late actor Angus Scrimm, who essayed the role of the leader. Mind Warp is definitely worth a watch if you have some time to spare, but please don't expect much. That's our only request.
No reflection.
Sundown, the Vampire in Retreat, 1989. A colony of vampires seems to be living a very peaceful life in the abandoned desert town of Purgatory. So much so that they even wear sunscreen lotion to shield themselves. All seems to be going well until a young descendant of the Van Helsing family arrives with the sole intent of getting rid of all the blood-sucking monsters. No points for guessing who Robert Van Helsing happens to be in this 1989 American Western comedy horror.
And what?
Robert Van Helsing.
Campbell is outrageously hilarious, providing some great comic scenes. Although Campbell does play a supporting role here, he is the main driver of the plot, and it is solely because of him that the movie takes a different turn. But as much as Campbell deserves a mention in the movie, we also cannot disregard the late David Carradine as Count Joseph Mardelak or Dracula. He was superb in his role. Mark our words when we say that you're going to have a blast watching it. After all, you just cannot miss out on Van Helsing being turned into a vampire. Yes, you heard that right. So if you ever lay your hands on this one, do us a favor and just watch it. Moontrap, 1989. In the midst of a routine flight, the mission commander of the space shuttle Camelot chances upon an alien artifact and decides
Just
to
my
bring it
camera there, folks.
Soon after, it turns out to be a deadly alien war robot. Colonel Jason Grant and fellow astronaut Ray Tanner are sent to the moon on a mission to unravel the mystery of the automaton's origin. The duo not only discovers the remains of an ancient civilization, but also faces an alien invasion by a race of predatory cyborgs. It would not be wrong to address Robert Dyke's Moontrap as a space slasher film. The movie not only boasts an
Sci-fi film,
dramatic, well-paced plot, but also has the perfect genre cast. We're talking about Walter Koenig as Grant and Campbell, of course, as Tanner. The two have amazing chemistry on display. Coming back to Campbell, it's movies like this that show he is so much more as a performer. He makes Moontrap worth it on his own, and he is not even the lead character here. Also, you don't have to be a Campbell fan to watch this movie. If you like science fiction, just go for it.
Skip this goofy ad. Boom.
Terminal Invasion, 2002.
Terminal Invasion.
While transporting condemned murderer Jack during a severe snowstorm, the police wagon meets with an accident. The officers escorting Jack somehow manage to reach the nearby private airport. On arriving there, they witness the passengers in an argument with the pilot, who refuses to take off due to the extreme weather conditions. It is soon revealed that a group of aliens disguised as humans have taken over the entire airport.
Well,
and
that's
have
a
their own
coincidence.
plans to take over the planet. Now it is up to the female pilot and the convict to save the day. It goes without saying that Campbell stars as Jack, the convicted felon who's being transported during the blizzard. It's always a delight to see Campbell, and although he's not really that funny here as per his role, he is indisputably one of the saving graces of this 2002 science fiction television film. One would not be exactly wrong to compare the role of Jack here with Ash from Army of Darkness, minus the boomstick, of course. His signature smirk, along with some exciting one-liners, just cannot be missed out on. There's this particular dialogue of his where he says, "Don't worry about who I have killed in the past, worry about who I will kill in the future." This one is enough to lure all the Campbell fans out here. So if you happen to be in the mood for an action-packed alien thriller that features a healthy dose of Campbell, we highly recommend that you give this one a shot. Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, and Xena Warrior Princess, 1995 to 1999. Sam Raimi's Evil Dead trilogy must have been a definite exposure for many of Campbell's fans to his world of acting. After all, that's what made him famous. However, to be very honest, credits have to be given to the popular television series Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, and Xena Warrior Princess, where his character Autolycus gained a huge female fan following. Essaying the role of a very charming rogue, Campbell not only managed to charm the ladies, but also got the opportunity to play the dashing swashbuckler, something that most guys have on their bucket lists. Campbell plays Autolycus, the self-proclaimed suave king of thieves. He is shown to be friends with both Hercules and Xena, although they do not always trust him for his obviously devious nature. Despite being a thief, Autolycus happens to be a very kind-hearted man, one with a heart of gold. His character became so popular that in spite of decisions to no longer have him on Xena after the second season, fans demanded his presence to the extent that they were eventually rewarded with Autolycus's return. Autolycus is both sarcastic and heroic. Remember him saying, "Even the great Hercules is no match for the king of thieves." Well, at times it did seem like the character was created just for Campbell. Both in Hercules and Xena, Bruce is mostly seen wearing something ridiculous and even uttering the strangest of dialogues. It goes without saying that Bruce Campbell as Autolycus is the main reason why certain episodes simply livened up.
Package, no pain. Or at least you still have guts.
Jack of all
This is
trades,
still have guts.
Set during the early 19th century, Jack Styles happens to be an American secret agent who is sent to the fictional French-controlled island of Pulau Pulau in the East Indies by President Thomas Jefferson. That's where he meets his British contact and love interest, the no-nonsense spy Amelia Rothschild. The duo teams up to put an end to Napoleon Bonaparte's colonizing efforts. In order to not reveal his identity as a spy, Jack often adopts the guise of a famous masked hero known as the Daring Dragoon. This syndicated action comedy TV series ran for close to 2 seasons, generating 22 interesting episodes.
I'll get to that monkey any minute now.
And it goes without saying that Bruce Campbell literally stole the show. His character here is a smooth combination of James Bond, a little bit of Zorro, traces of Ash
Zorro.
Williams, and a wee bit of the Scarlet Pimpernel to an extent. We get to witness Campbell doing what he does best yet again. A word of
Dun, dun,
advice
dun,
to all
dun,
the
dun,
people
dun,
who
dun.
watch Jack of all trades. Please do not make the mistake of taking this show seriously. It's pure, unadulterated fun, and it's meant to be like that.
I've recreated the statue's blueprints from memory. Impressive, aren't I?
No big deal. You're not the only one around here.
Ain't the only one around here.
We highly recommend you give this a shot for 2 main reasons. The first is because of Campbell. He has never been funnier than this. The second has to be because of the musical opening credits, which unquestionably is the catchiest theme song in the history of television. To those on the lookout for a healthy dose of Bruce Campbell, do not miss out on this guilty pleasure. The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., 1993 to 1994. Harvard-educated lawyer turned bounty hunter Briscoe County Jr., hired by a group of wealthy industrialists, goes in search of the members of the notorious John Bly gang. The gang happens to be the same men who were responsible for the death of his father. Accompanied by Lord Bowler, a fellow bounty hunter, he travels through the West to hunt them down and avenge his father's death. As the bold and dynamic Briscoe, Campbell got to do a lot of things that almost every actor dreams of. For starters, he got to be the cowboy, got to ride on horses, take care of the bad guys, and also got to swing his lady right into his arms. But all of these did not come to him just like that. Many of you might not know this, but Campbell literally had to go through 5 auditions before he finally got selected to play Briscoe. In his first audition, he actually did a spontaneous backflip right in front of the casting director. He did so because he was quite aware that the show would be pretty high on action, and therefore he wanted to make that first great impression. Goes without saying that this stunt did impress the casting director to the extent that Campbell was asked to flip in almost all the following auditions, and we couldn't be happier with the end result. Because of his natural charm and charisma, Campbell as Briscoe was beyond perfect in the heart of the show. Full credits to co-creators Carlton Cuse and the late Jeffrey Boehm for coming up with such an incredible TV series.
Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, follow me on the TikTok and Discord. God bless y'all, and I'll see you next video.